Hey guys, alright, let's talk technical test. Now the technical test has been released for a few days, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of give my feedback as well as receive yours and hear what your thoughts are on the closed technical test for NHL 23. Before we get into it, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm pushing for that 40,000 sub mark on YouTube. I'd love to hit it before NHL 23, so if you're here and you watch my content regularly, hit that subscribe button, really help out. Alright, let's jump right into my feedback for NHL 23's closed technical test. Now, right off the rip, let's talk about gameplay. I think this year I'm gonna have a lot more of an open mind when it comes to gameplay. I think what I've learned over the years of being a game changer and a content creator, when it comes to gameplay, it's very subjective when it comes to NHL. Something that I might love, other people might hate, and vice versa, and I really don't think there's ever a way to please everyone when it comes to the NHL gameplay. That being said, let's talk about the good things and the bad things that I've seen so far from the gameplay in NHL 23's closed technical test. Number one, the poke check nerf really does seem to be impactful. It was always one of the cringiest things to see, in my opinion, even at the top end of the game. I covered more NHL esports than I think anyone else on the planet when it came to NHL last year, and seeing the R1 just being held out, using it for interference, using it to get the puck free via incidental contact, it just was absolutely brutal to watch from like a viewer standpoint, and playing against it was extremely frustrating. So that, it just seems to be completely gone in that sense. You can no longer just hold out the defensive skill stick and hope and pray that you're going to be able to get the puck back. It has to be well timed. Secondly, passing. So the pass assist model was turned back on in NHL 23. It was completely removed essentially in NHL 22. Passing was one of the things I enjoyed the least in NHL 22, and I could appreciate the skill gap they were trying to create by making it so that if you were a good passer, meaning that you could aim and lead your pass as well, you would see a much better flow to your game than someone who struggles with that. That isn't the part that I was so frustrated with in NHL 22. It was the having two players that were basically in a line, and that middle player you're trying to hit would just let the pass go, almost like Mario Lemieux in the Olympics. Why, dude? Passing! It would just go through to the far side guy, and that would more often than not lead to odd man rushes the other way, and a lot of issues that I just didn't like, and it led to a more clunky game. In 23, it doesn't seem to be happening, and the passing seems to be a lot snappier. Again, I think this is something that some people are going to love, some people are going to hate. I personally really enjoyed it. It felt a lot quicker, a lot crisper, and it led to more offense. Now, more offense, because it does seem like goaltenders are struggling mightily in NHL 23, and I don't know if that is by design or just because it's World of Chell. I'm really not sure. That does appear to be the majority of the player base's big concerns, is that goaltending is just completely gone in the technical test. They're getting picked apart left and right, and there is a lot more goals scored per game than in 22. Now, I've talked about this a lot throughout NHL 22, is I, was a top-end Division I player, and my experience of the game was I really just had 4-goal games. Like, I would win 3-1 or 2-1. It very rarely did it go more than that. And as someone who's playing a video game, I want to see a little bit more offense. I want to see the ability to create time and space. There really wasn't a lot of that in 22, in my opinion, and I think that it just led to a very clunky game when you had two players that were kind of running into each other or near each other because of that stick-in physics being added in. You got the wacky inflatable tube-man sequence, and I just couldn't really stand that. And again, I think that there's people out there that enjoyed the more sim-based defensive style game, and I can appreciate that. It does appear that NHL 23 is going to be a lot more offensive, and I think specifically early on, just in terms of Hockey Ultimate Team or 1v1, there is going to be a pretty big adjustment period for people that relied on holding out R1 because there just isn't a way to do that. So in the technical test, I saw a lot of people trying to chase and bump people off the puck, and I really didn't see a big, strong benefit to doing that, and it led to a lot of goals. The other thing is the last chance puck movement. I don't know about you guys, I haven't seen it. I've seen it has triggered once for me in about 10 games, and if that's the case, you're gonna see that, it feels a lot like NHL 22 a lot, because that was the main addition to the game in terms of gameplay this year, was the last chance puck movement, and I do think it will be viable in Hockey Ultimate Team more than World of Chell, and I'll explain why in just a minute, but if it is only gonna trigger once in a while, that's pretty tough, because that was the main addition to NHL 23. Now, the one thing that I think everyone needs to remember, and a lot of people forget about when trying to compare what HUT is going to feel like in World of Chell, is that World of Chell uses 80 overall player builds. So the builds that you're using in World of Chell are very low rated, meaning that the problems that you have in World of Chell, for example, let's say lower offensive awareness. In World of Chell, Magnetic is almost necessary to receive passes cleanly. In Hockey Ultimate Team, almost everyone's offensive awareness starts at 85 and above, and that is the thing that dictates bobbling the puck and receiving the puck cleanly. So I really think that we're not going to see that as much when it comes to Hockey Ultimate Team. Just as an example, I think that the lower build, the lower abilities, and the lower body checking in World of Chell, the lower defensive awareness, those aren't really going to be an issue in Hockey Ultimate Team. So I just want you guys to really reserve your judgment for when the game comes out, but I can see why there are some, some worries about that. I also got to talk about, like, as someone who does not play World of Chell exclusively, I would love to be able to test out Hockey Ultimate Team in 1v1. The biggest thing that frustrates me is that I can understand, because World of Chell is so popular, it is the most played game mode, why that is important to test, and I get that the closed technical test is more about actually making sure the game launches and plays, but we run into these issues where 3 weeks into the game in Hockey Ultimate Team or Versus, there's a thing that comes up that is like, man, this is pretty broken, and it takes weeks or months to fix, sometimes not at all, and these things would be resolved if they were just pointed out before launch of the game, and not being able to test it at all is really, really frustrating, especially as someone who doesn't have, like, I don't play a lot of World of Chell, so finding 6 guys or 5 guys that would all be able to play at the same time is just not possible for the majority of 1v1 players, so I just kind of wish that was a thing, and, it is what it is. When it comes to the beta codes, because I think this needs to be addressed as well, this year we received a fraction of the actual codes that they could give out to players that signed up for the closed technical test. I do need to relate, that is a Microsoft and Sony thing. They are the ones that make the codes for EA, and I don't know who they made mad, but they did not give out anywhere near the right amount of codes, and, obviously that frustrates the player base. I apologize. As of right now, guys, there are no extra codes, so if you see someone online trying to sell codes and whatnot, they don't have any. So just keep that in mind. I don't want you guys to get scammed. But let me know your thoughts on the closed technical test down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm going to reply to all the comments over the next week, and I'm just curious to start a dialogue to see what you guys actually think. NHL 23 is right around the corner, guys. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.